What is going on, everybody? In this video, we'll be talking about breakout candidates for all NBA teams, starting with the Eastern Conference. Before we get right into the video, be like Libertarian Neighbor, one of my loyal subscribers. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Do all the stuff that they do, man. Shout out to Libertarian Neighbor, Real One, OG, and I appreciate you. All right, let's get right into the video. Up first is the Atlanta Hawks, and the breakout candidate is Deandre Hunter. So the Hawks are pretty thin at the forward positions. They got rid of Kevin Huerter. They got rid of Danilo Gallinari. And right now, he's eligible for an extension, meaning that they haven't reached an agreement yet. But look, Hunter, he led the Hawks in the playoffs last year. They're going to need more wing depth, and I think he brings a lot to the table. I'm only going to spend about 20 seconds on each person so this video doesn't get too long. So moving on to the Charlotte Hornets, it's P.J. Washington. A lot of this is because of the whole Miles Bridges situation. I do not think he'll be playing with the Hornets at all this season. So that means P.J. Washington is up next. He's going to be their main front court option with Bridges out. But look, he's a better defender, better three-point shooter, and he's going to be getting the bulk of the minutes in the front court. So LaMelo's going to keep feeding him, and he's going to take advantage of that opportunity. Moving on to the Boston Celtics, if he hasn't already broken out already, it's Rob Williams. And what I mean by this, like, obviously people know who Rob was. You know, he was a big presence on the Celtics, big contributor to a team that made it to the finals. But I think this season, he's going to really establish himself as probably like a top 5 center in the league. I think he could be top 5 center in the league. I'd have to kind of list them out, but he's going to be a force. He's like a prototypical, like, perfect center that doesn't, stretch the floor that any team could ask for in the modern NBA. Rim runner, shot blocker, extremely athletic, extremely active, and he's a winner. Moving on to the Brooklyn Nets, it's Cam Thomas. So a lot of this prediction is rooted in the uncertainty behind the Kyrie and the KD situation, because who knows what's going to happen from that. If one of those guys is gone, Cam Thomas is going to get a huge opportunity. He hasn't gotten it so far because, he's not a natural passer. He's more of a scoring guard. And it's hard to get a lot of shots up if you're playing behind Kyrie Irving. But he should be probably the main bench option, in my opinion. Probably taking Patty Mills' position. This dude is electric. Right now, he's only shown his talent and his capabilities in the summer league, but I think it'll translate well to the league if he just gets the chance. Moving on to the New York Knicks, there are a few different candidates here. You could talk about Quentin Grimes. You could talk about Jericho Sims, Obi Toppin. These are all great candidates, but I'm going to go with Immanuel Quickley. So with all the Donovan Mitchell trade talks around the Knicks, obviously Jalen Brunson being the big splash for the Knicks, Quickley's hype has kind of been forgotten from my point of view. When I think back to his rookie year, I kind of saw IQ and Maxey as cut from the same cloth, and not just because they're from Kentucky and they were backcourt teammates, but they got that work ethic. They're scoring guards who can make plays, create shots. They got a floater game. And the reason why Maxey ascended into this next tier of stardom and IQ didn't is because Thibodeau doesn't really play young players, and he hasn't had that opportunity. But now that I think IQ will probably be the sixth man in the Knicks rotation, we're going to see him take that leap next season. Moving on to the Philadelphia 76ers. As much as I would like for this answer to be Matisse Thybulle, I just do not think it will be, unfortunately. So as a Sixers fan, I believe the breakout candidate will be Paul Reed. And most of this, again, recurring theme is opportunity. The Sixers haven't gotten any OG, veteran big mans like they did with Andre Drummond and then DeAndre Jordan. They're basically saying, hey, we have these young guys. We have Charles Bassey. We have Paul Reed. Doc Rivers, you're going to have to play one of them. And Paul Reed is going to get the lion's share of the backup 5 minutes. He can probably play a little bit of 4 alongside Embiid as well. But when Embiid goes down, ultimately with injuries, Paul Reed is going to shine, and he's going to step up to the plate. Moving on to the Toronto Raptors, it's Dalano Banton. This guy is very ready to crack this rotation. He's change of pace guard. He can create. He can make plays around the rim. He just needs to improve a little bit on his shooting and decision making. But watching the Summer League, watching a lot of these Rico Hines runs, he looks really ready to make that leap, and he could be a potential most improved player candidate. Moving on to the Chicago Bulls, it is Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams has all the tools, all the physical tools needed to succeed. He was sidelined for nearly 5 months with injuries. He was kind of hesitant. A lot of his moves were predetermined and didn't really seem like he really knew what he was comfortable with doing on that team. So he's pretty hesitant to shoot or dribble, but he has shown flashes, especially of that defensive versatility. And I think he's going to be starting And as long as he's healthy, he's going to get an opportunity to shine with the Chicago Bulls next season. Moving on to the Cleveland Cavaliers, it's Lamar Stevens. This guy has a great mid-range shot. He's a great cutter, especially playing alongside Darius Garland. He's going to get a lot of open looks. His stats won't wow you, and I don't think they'll wow you again next season, even though he's breaking out. But he can guard the 2, he can guard the 3, he can guard some 4s. I think the main thing with him is confidence. And I think that confidence will come with increased, more steady playing time, and as you're more confident, you start to become a lot more consistent. And I think we're going to see that from Lamar Stevens from the Cavs next season. Moving on to the Detroit Pistons, I'm going with Isaiah Livers. So Isaiah Livers, if you don't know him, he's a very switchable 3-and-D. He could low-key start at the 4 for the Pistons. When he came on the scene last year with the Pistons, he shot 42% from 3. And the Pistons, they could really be like one of those sneaky teams, kind of like the Cavs were next year. Isaiah Livers, he's very versatile and he can shoot. And I think he's going to just continue to build alongside the Pistons' young core, and they're going to be really exciting to watch. Moving on to the Indiana Pacers, it's Jalen Smith. So I'm pretty sure Jalen Smith will be the starting 4 on the Pacers. They committed to him with a 3-year deal, but he's really improved three-point percentage. He went up from 23% with the Phoenix Suns, I believe, all the way up to 37% last year. He's basically improved everywhere in every facet of the game with increased minutes. So he's going to continue to get more increased minutes since he's starting this year, and he should be a good fit alongside Miles Turner until he's, I guess, traded. I don't know what the Pacers are doing, really. Moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks, there's not a ton of breakout candidates from my point of view. The Bucks are pretty much running it back with the same core of players because why not? They have a championship level roster. But the player is Jordan Nwora. The Bucks were essentially looking to just improve their depth, and Jordan Nwora was one of their most promising young guys. And outside of Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton, I'm not sure who else the Bucks can rely on consistently from their bench. They had some problems with injuries last year. Eventually, one of those guys will fill in the starting lineup, and Jordan Nwora will be right there, consistently getting more minutes and more opportunities to shine. The Miami Heat, the breakout candidate is Gabe Vincent. So Max Strus, Tyler Hero, they're obviously already solidified bench pieces for the Miami Heat. But from my point of view, I low-key think that Gabe Vincent should replace Kyle Lowry in the starting lineup. No knock to Kyle Lowry. I just think he's at that point in his career. Gabe Vincent is more athletic. He seems to be a better shooter. He's not as smart of a defender, but I think given his athleticism, he's a little more active and could probably switch on to more players at this point. But it's a contract year for this guy, and that's the main point right here. He's been slept on his entire career, and he's going to look to make yet another leap so he can get that bag in the following season. Orlando Magic, the player is Jalen Suggs. He had a pretty underwhelming rookie year, I know, but he's a natural leader, and I think as long as he just stays healthy, he's going to find his niche, attacking the basket and just being a natural leader on this very young Orlando Magic team that needs leadership. They have a little bit of a pecking order to sort out at the guard position between Suggs, Fultz, and Cole Anthony. They also have, obviously, the number 1 pick with Paolo, who's going to be doing a lot of playmaking. So hopefully that'll take some pressure off of Jalen Suggs. He won't have to commit as many turnovers. He had a pretty bad assist-to-turnover ratio last year, but I think he's going to have a really strong bounce-back year. Washington Wizards, it's Rui Hachimura. So the Wizards have done absolutely nothing to improve their roster or make you feel any hope that there will be, a playoff team or a competent team whatsoever. A lot of their hope is relying on the development of Deni Avdija and Rui Hachimura. So Rui, he made his debut very late last season due to personal reasons. But unlike some people, he actually came back and played and suited up for his team, and he looked pretty good. He shot over 40%. I'm not sure if he'll continue to shoot 40% or at that level, but he's proven he can knock down open three-pointers. He has a very strong, stable frame, so he's a versatile defender, and he finished in the top 98th percentile finishing at the basket. I'm also just personally rooting for this guy. I really want to see him succeed, and I think he will, even if it'll be more under the radar since he's playing in Washington. So that's it, man. Those are the top breakout candidates from the Eastern Conference. Stay tuned for another video just like this where we go through the Western Conference teams. Let me know your thoughts. I'm happy to respond to anybody in the comments if you want to hear more of why I selected a certain person over another. This was kind of just like a speed round. Didn't want to make this video too long. But hey, man, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel while you're at it. I'll see you on the next one.